Hi, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Welcome to my Star Atlas Week in Review podcast. This is podcast number 108. Any articles or videos mentioned can be found on my website at intergalacticherald.com. Look for news recap number 156. So just a quick summary of things to be talking about. Beyond the Horizon put out a short video series in a Zero to Hero format. Star Atlas released a article, well, actually it was a press release, but anyways, on Medium about an investment in another company. The Atlas Brew occurred, and they did some sneak previews of the next upcoming UE5 release. And Star Atlas also announced that the next DAO Council election process is kicking off. But before I get into that, just a couple quick things on things I'm working on in Star Atlas. If I do have a Star Atlas DAO PIP, so I don't know. It's just a proposal. I forget what the Polis Improvement Pro. I can't remember. Lots of acronyms in Star Atlas. Anyways, it's for an in-person community meet platform. It's still going through kind of the DAO Council review phase. Got some great feedback, so I'm working on a revision to that. But I'm definitely open to any other feedback. If you want to go to the Star Atlas Discord, look for the DAO section. Look for, it's in Draft PIP now, and again, it's in-person community meetup platform, or it's got my icon and name there. So really appreciate any community feedback to try to help refine that. Also, I do have a merch store called Intergalactic Gear, which can be found at intergalacticgear.com, open for business. Very, very static products. Again, I've been working on this PIP idea, so it's been kind of taking what free time I give to Star Atlas. But anyways, you can check out some Star Atlas mugs. I do have the start of some wall art, different types of material, canvas, posters, can't remember, metal prints, anyways, that are going to be based on the Star Atlas original NFT posters. So there's the first one there, the Discovery of Iris. You can get in different formats and different sizes. So anyways, if you're interested in that, please check out intergalacticgear.com. Plus I have a merch survey. Love to get any feedback on other products to eventually, once time, or I guess it's more about not time. Well, it is time, but it's priorities. Anyways, do want to build that out. And then also have on kind of the long-term plan, would like to build kind of a community I've referred to in the past as a non-guild guild, but it's really more about a place for gamers in Star Atlas who aren't going to join guilds, but nevertheless want to hang out and chat, but don't necessarily have time to spend to keep up on the kind of chat format that's in Discord, so it's going to use a different platform. I have an interest survey. You can find that at intergalacticcoalition.com. And anyways, if you're trying to get enough interest for it, it will be a paid community, but that's to help offset the cost of the platform. Unlike Discord, which is free, this platform does cost money, but it allows for other features, much more organizing around threaded discussions. You can sign up for email alerts, so you can just follow basically I guess they're called spaces in that term, that you're interested in, or just the threads. I'm not sure. They don't call them threads. I forget what they call them. But anyways, that you can just sign up, and then when new announcements occur, you get emails. So you can kind of be more asynchronous in your checking of different information. But anyways, that's at intergalacticcoalition.com. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the bulk of the content. Again, do want to promote that Beyond the Horizon came out last weekend. And again, if you haven't listened to my podcast before, I record this usually on a Saturday, referencing the week in review. So sometimes content creators put out videos the past weekend, but I kind of make a hard stop at Friday night, recording, putting in what's in my news recap. So anything that comes out the past weekend is, of course, fair game, but it's also a week old, so I know some of this stuff has already moved on. But anyways, Beyond the Horizon last weekend put out a couple of things on a Zero to Hero format. He was trying to put together, I think he started out with $15, but might have changed it. But anyways, it's the idea, what could you do in Sage with that amount of money? And it was a great little series. Hope we add some more videos to it, because I think those are definitely very interesting concepts of how you can start from the beginning. So Star Atlas did announce an investment, and I do have to admit, I'm not 100% sure which way the investment goes. But anyways, if you go to my news recap number 156 on Intergalactic Herald, you can find the link to their Medium article and read it for yourself. But the business, I think it's called Shaga? I'm not sure. Anyways, they are basically about cloud gaming so that you can run Star Atlas on non-PCs. So it feels like Star Atlas is going forward, focusing on the Unreal Engine 5 platform. So the web browser platform, mobile platforms, those don't seem to be priorities anymore. So, of course, the limitation is you have to have a gaming PC and you have to be on Windows. So that does really, it restricts it, but if you're a PC gamer, it's perfectly normal. But if you're not, then you're kind of locked out. So my understanding is this other company does cloud gaming in the sense that you can download their software and somehow stream it. Admit I didn't click on to find out more about the company, which I'll explain in my kind of State of Star Atlas segment next. But anyways, it is a great milestone, or not milestone, but it's great to hear that they are now not just saying, oh yeah, someday we'll have cloud gaming, but they're actually aligning with a different company for that. So again, check out their press release talking about that. As is tradition, the community team at Star Atlas did their Atlas Brew. This time they had a guest. Don't remember. Man, someday. Oh, anyways, go to my website, click on the link. They tell you who it is. I just didn't write it down. But anyways, it was talking about the next release of UE5. So unlike last year where I don't think we got a single version during the year, maybe one related to the Surge thing, they have definitely been releasing more. I think this might be the second one for the year. And what was shown was some new conceptual play types in the idea of asking for feedback. So they were, as is really true in a beta or alpha, these are definitely conceptual ideas. And it was showing a single ship doing mining of an asteroid. And again, in the Sage software, we're kind of doing that right now, though we just claim, I think they're asteroids. You just go to a starbase and then there's resources and you mine them. But this was actually a visual representation of it, and it was single ship. So they did kind of a demo of that and different aspects of how mining and efficiency, and I wasn't really following everything because, again, it was sort of a work in progress. But again, it's definitely interesting, the fact that we'll get to try some new things out. They also mentioned some new gunplay modes. I kind of glossed over them, only in the sense that I really just need to find the time and play what we have. So newer things were a little hard to realize the differences when I haven't even played what's current there. But again, definitely showing that they're adding more variety to that part of the game. And then the last one they kind of mentioned but didn't show was the idea of a dedicated multiplayer servers. And again, since I haven't played, I'm not 100% sure I got this right, but I believe the current game allows you to do multiplayer, but someone has to be a host. So you kind of have to coordinate it. They're not always available. And I think I've been hearing on the Atlas Brews that the host has way better experience because it's on their computer in a sense. So what it sounded like they were testing is that the idea there'll be the classic, or what I have always called traditional multiplayer, is that you can go to some sort of matchmaking or front door or whatever. There's a better term for it. But anyways, and then you just see servers, and if you get enough people together, apparently the technology behind the scenes just sort of automatically allocates itself, and boom, you have a multiplayer server. So definitely I think that's a big, I don't know if that's coming out in this next release or they were just teasing that for a future one, but the fact that they were internally testing that, yeah, I think that's a big milestone to actually get where someone can just start up Star Atlas showroom, whatever we're calling it, UE5 version, and just get in and play for a few minutes. So I think that's a great next step. So, and then the last thing that happened this past week is Star Atlas put out an announcement on their Medium channel that the DAO Council elections are kicking off. Apparently there was some need to change some of that, so proposal was made and approved, and then that triggered the elections for the next council. Yeah, anyways, read the Medium article if you want to get all the details. So I just skimmed it, and there'll be nominations followed by campaigning, followed by election, and it seems like the whole thing wraps up sometime in April. So yeah, so a few weeks from now. Anyways, so that's sort of the content that came out this past week I wanted to mention, and then kind of moving on to the next segment, kind of thinking more about how State of Star Atlas is kind of the week in review. So again, this Shega, I'm not really sure, investment does sound like a good partnership, especially if the browser version of the game is eventually going away. But the thing that's a little, not confusing, but unclear, I guess, is we were told the browser version is going away, and maybe now that I'm thinking it, this makes sense. So the browser version is going away of Sage. Sage is the current product that interacts with the Star Atlas economy, though ultimately everything will act with the blockchain economy. But in order to not have to keep developing two platforms, the idea was to take the browser version that gives you access to Sage and the economy and put it into Fleet Command, which is a version of UE5. So if the web browser goes away, then then you have to have a Windows PC gaming machine with all the things to run UE5. So this partnership sounds like it'll allow to run on other things, and it was mentioned that people are trying tablets and iPhones. So that's great. One thing I was just pausing when I was thinking is like, well, what happens to all the tools? But I realized all the automation tools directly interact with the blockchain, so they don't require the web browser, I'm pretty sure. And even if they do today, that doesn't mean they wouldn't. The community developers that are working on that couldn't change that. So, and in fact, now I think about it, sorry, just going off a tangent, the EVI tool doesn't interact with the browser version at all. The Sly Assistant does, but you don't actually have to run much. So I would think that they could probably find a workaround. And then the latest tool, Atom, I don't think at all, because they take care of it all on their platform. So anyways, back to the point of definitely the idea of making the Star Atlas game, if it's pretty much just the UE5 version, accessible to everyone, is definitely a good partnership. I didn't do a lot of searching on the business model, but it sounded like from the press release that basically people, to do the thing, you rent out. Sorry. It sounds like to play the game, in a sense, you're renting out someone else's PC. So you may be playing on a tablet, but you're really running it decentralized on someone else's computer, which is an intriguing model. It's definitely different and unique from the traditional cloud services where this stuff would all, quote unquote, be run in the cloud, which really just means there's technology hosted somewhere that does something. So good. Again, like I kind of alluded to, I'm not really sure if they invest in Star Atlas or Star Atlas invested in them. They called it an equity investment. I'm not a financial guy, so I don't know what that means. But there's definitely some sort of relationship going on. So I think that's good. However, immediately, and I hate to be kind of whatever, is that there's been other partnerships, and strangely, I couldn't remember what they were because they've gone. But the one that finally did pop up again was the Metagravity, which was going to allow the large number of people simultaneously. And going back to the dedicated multi-server, it's like, well, that's not Metagravity. So where's Metagravity? And again, it could be legit things like their technology's not ready. I think the current multiplayer is based upon the Epic system, and Epic's a big gaming platform and, of course, makes its own games. And so it's very mature and makes a lot of sense. People can build upon that. So again, it's like, yeah, great, but I guess we'll wait and see. And then the only other small thing I thought about later was this Shega or whatever's entire business model is based upon other people giving up their PCs. Now, it could be that because it's incentivized that people want to do it. But, if it's my computer, my internet goes down, well, then you can't play on my computer. So I don't know. I'm mentioning things that I haven't done any research on, so that's not really fair to the company. But anyways, to summarize, great, definitely gives the potential for more people to have access to Star Atlas. That's a good thing. Love to learn more, but doesn't really matter. We don't have a UE5 version of the game that makes much sense to play right now, so we'll just see how it all works out. So, and then the second thing I was going to comment on was kind of the UE5 release, and definitely liking seeing these developments happen much more frequently, even if they are just, hey, I had this idea on how we're going to do mining, and so we put it in the game and we'd love to get your feedback. I mean, that's great. That's awesome. So I think it'll be, again, really interesting to see if this cadence of releasing things comes out and different features. So again, really happy to see that. And I really do think the dedicated multiplayer server is a huge development, because I think it finally, if we can say the browser-based game, you can definitely be something on that every day. The UE5 version, on the other hand, I don't know, you got to coordinate with people and all that's just complicated. So having dedicated multiplayer servers, I do really think is huge. So anyways, and so the final section, if you've been following along, I kind of talk about my journey playing Star Atlas. So I did finally do some research. I know I've been saying I'm going to do that for months. And basically I was able to calculate the new Mamba X requirements. So that's one of my goals right now in Sage, or is my only goal, is to try to mine enough resources, craft those into the right components, materials, I don't even know, consumables, and then finally get enough to craft them Mamba X or redeem it. So I calculated that, and yeah, it's a lot more. But again, as I've said before, I mean, can't fault the team for deciding to make things harder. I mean, that's totally fine. So, but there's a lot more. So, since there was a lot more, I decided, instead of trying to worry about moving remaining carbon from wherever I'm at back to the Central Space Station, I might as well just go back to mining more carbon because I'm going to need it. And carbon is, according to my calculations, the most base resource, raw material that I need. So, but before I could do that, I needed more fuel just needed more fuel, which means I needed more hydrogen. So I decided to just stay at the Central Space Station, mine some hydrogen and that. But I decided to start thinking about the next thing, which is these two goals that I really want to research. One was get a little more familiar with the local markets, and two, see if I can start exchanging the resources that my claim stakes are making for resources I need. So for example, so far in the situation I'm working at, you need ammo to mine, you need fuel to move, and a little bit of mining, and you need fuel to mine. So need those three, but there's a fourth one, toolkits, which they're just building up. So can't I sell toolkits and then get Atlas and maybe do some of that? So that's number one I wanted to figure out. And number two was, again, the local markets. Should I just mine the carbon, sell the carbon at the local market, get the Atlas, go back to Central Space Station, buy carbon, save all the fuel costs to move it back and forth. Now, technically fleet rentals are in this mix, but given that is very beta and they took it down a couple times to make improvements, just too many things to even factor into my thing. So definitely I guess I need to think about it, but not yet. But in process of starting to think about that, I was thinking, man, I really wish maybe I had a mining ship because they don't require ammo. And then I thought, oh man, if I just had a transport ship, then I maybe can move things more effectively. And so I was kind of going down the rabbit hole of thinking about doing those, but of course that would cost money to buy those ships. And then I had that realization, wait a second, for all intents and purposes, other than the mining ship, which doesn't use ammo, cargo is cargo. So even if you get a cargo ship, maybe it's got some other benefit like uses better fuel more efficiently or something, but it's a size thing. Well, I do have ships in the faction fleet just sitting there getting Atlas. So I did a quick calculation and realized that that's a lot of unused cargo that was sitting there. And also I was looking at the EVI tool, which gives all the statistics in a kind of a table. And I looked at, I can't remember which ship, but compared to the one I have and the miner or the transport ship, I'm like, well, wait, my ships have stuff. Now, maybe they're not the most efficient, but that's not really what I'm concerned with right now. I already own them. The idea of buying more ships. So I came to the final conclusion that after a lot of time, it's time to leave faction fleet. And the other reason I did is I did calculate the Atlas, so it still is more than zero. And in my gameplay style, I had no problems restocking them because I was getting the resources from my claim stakes, and it was definitely equivalent. I mean, my claim stakes could fuel the faction fleet every day. So it was a net zero input, so I was perfectly fine because I get Atlas out of it. But when I looked at how much Atlas I was getting and made the calculation that, yeah, it's really minor. And I still need to figure out the long term, which is the Solana fees, because those are being consumed. Now, admittedly, not so much on Factions Fleet, but definitely on Sage. So I went to the theory that it doesn't really matter yet, but the bigger your fleet is, it still only takes one transaction fee. So you want to use what you got. So anyways, finally moved out of Faction Fleet, recreated a big fleet number 2, and went back to that theory, which was to mine hydrogen so I can make some fuel. And yeah, definitely mined hydrogen faster. So I didn't do the calculations, but it definitely accumulate it faster. So I went through my ammo and food that I had sent over and got a whole bunch of hydrogen back. So I took that and decided to go ahead and move some more ammo and fuel out to place where I'm mining carbon. And once those were exhausted, then I started mining carbon. And definitely at this point, mining the hydrogen, big difference. Moving, I wasn't paying much attention. I just wanted something out there so I could start mining carbon. But just as of this morning, the overnight mining of carbon felt substantially more, like 2 or 3 times more. But again, I don't have the calculation for the cargo or mining rates or whatever. So definitely, yeah, if you got the ships, use the ship. So anyway, so we'll just see how it goes. I'm hoping, but again, it's a question of time. Like, do a test. Like, say I have, I don't know, exactly some number of food and ammo, and calculate the amount of Solana that gets used and the, say, carbon that I get back, and then do a calculation. So again, stuff's happening. I don't feel like my Solana is being used too much, so everything feels good. So toying with doing that, but I still need to go back and figure out the whole Solana resources for my claim stakes and local markets, because kind of feeling like I can do the mining, but maybe the transport doesn't make any sense, or so sell at the local market, or maybe that's where fleet rental comes in. If I could rent a big transport fleet and spend some effort there. But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I don't have all the resources. So I'll stick with just mining carbon to get more, and then hopefully that'll give me more weeks to go by, and then I'll have some time. So anyways, that's what I'm working on right now. But pretty much it. So thanks for listening. Again, just to end up the podcast, again, I'm totally open for any ideas if people want to be guests. So please let me know. You can go to intergalacticherald.com and go to my contact page. Again, looking for other content creators that want to chat about what they're doing. It could be community members who just want to talk about the week in review, and any IP builders who want to talk about their projects. And then ultimately, it'd be cool to have any Starhouse employees that are interested in kind of beginning topics and things like that. Nothing really too in-depth, so I'm not going to ask for any alpha or anything like that. So anyways, again, please go to intergalacticherald.com, look for my contact page. And then again, if you're wanting to get a Starless branded mug or some wall art, please go to my merch store at intergalacticgear.com. And if you're interested in forming a new Starless community of gamers who aren't members of guilds and want to just hang out but not have to read chat logs, please go to intergalacticcoalition.com and fill out an interest survey there. And that's pretty much it for the week in review of Star Atlas. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great week ahead. This is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald.